Hello, everyone. I'm Jordan Scheff, Commissioner for the Department of Developmental Services, and I thank you for taking time today to view this video. It's been about a year since I visited with you in similar fashion, talking about planting some seeds of change. And over the last year, there's been a lot of changes, and a lot of those seeds of change have begun to take root. And I'm here to update you both on some organizational changes as well as share a high-level view of some of the other progress we've made related to that seeds of change information. Let me begin by talking about what's a really once in a generation or once in a half generation sort of transformational opportunity for DDS. As many of you are aware, we saw a wave of retirements this past year, starting in January, intensifying in April, and tailing off on or about July 1st. To that end, we've had the opportunity to say goodbye, or at least a temporary goodbye, to a number of our friends and who had been colleagues of mine for years. But I look forward right now to introducing you to some of the names you'll get to know in our new leadership roles, and look forward to doing question and answer sessions with you live and in person with them later this fall. Let me begin by sharing with you that I'm happy to appoint Elisa Velardo as Deputy Commissioner, formerly working in the private sector and most recently as the North Region Regional Director. Replacing her in the North Region, longtime North Region staff in a number of roles, Ms. Stacy Silva Gordon. Chris Secaroli has taken the opportunity to move away from his role as the Public Regional Director and accepted responsibilities for leadership as the Regional Director in the South Region, replacing my longtime colleague and friend, Thomas Daly. Shannon O'Brien in the West Region has taken over for Fritz Gorst. He remains in the wings supporting her through this time of transition, but Shannon has done an unbelievable job, not only in the West, but helping out over the many years temporarily in leadership roles in a variety of ways. Patricia West, who had been the Assistant Regional Director for our Public Region, has accepted the promotion and opportunity to be our Regional Director for Public statewide. And Kathy Hanowitz, who's been at Southbury Training School for a great number of years under the leadership of former Director Eugene Harvey, has agreed to take on the role at Southbury as its director after a number of years in a variety of capacities at Southbury. So in addition to those leadership opportunities, there are two distinct changes among many, at risk of leaving anyone out. But I thought that these were two things that I've talked about internally as needs for the agency, and I'm happy to share with you that for the first time in our history, we have a Director of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. Dr. Cheryl Ellis has now been with us for some time during this past year, hit the ground running, and has really made strides in bringing community staff together to talk about these very important issues that not only impact our workplace, but impact our service delivery. And Cenk Menke comes over. One of the lessons we learned during the pandemic is we need someone ready to lead in times of crisis from a very strategic place and with a background in emergency services. And he has come on board and already made an impact here in the waning days of the COVID pandemic, at least what I hope are the waning days of the COVID pandemic. Last year, I talked about planting seeds and put out some ideas about what I would hope would become transformational changes to the system. I'm going to talk about those transformational changes and ideas as a refresher to you, but I want you to know that additional videos related to this presentation are available on our website. One of them will be led by Deputy Commissioner Elisa Velardo, and then Peter Mason, our former Deputy Commissioner, is back helping us with American Rescue Plan Act spending, ARPA spending. There'll be both a short and long video that gets into different levels of detail on the tremendous opportunity that the federal funding presents to us. So transformational change to the system. What are some things it could look like? We're thinking, and these are just a sample. I think when you, if you take the time to watch both Elisa's video and Peter's video, they'll get into additional ideas. But I think the time has come for us that potentially we would look at repurposing and rethinking how we utilize some of the group homes. We operate approximately 850 of them, and we have for a great number of years. But as opposed to forever being long-term living situations, are there opportunities and needs within the system for us to consider using some of those group homes for stabilization for people in crisis, for respite when someone cared for at home needs a long-term place to be while parents or relatives or other caregivers recover, and for palliative support as one idea. Caring for someone in their waning days, someone that we support in home can be troubling and difficult. And nursing home care is not always ideal for a number of the people we support. And I think that there are other ideas we can consider. And I hope that you will, at the question and answer sessions this fall, provide additional feedback how we might repurpose or reuse some of those group homes as we continue to broaden our continuum of supports, other living models that we think will have benefit to those we support. Additional things that transformation could look like. It could look like an extreme increase in the use of assistive technology and remote supports. In the connected videos to this presentation, you'll hear more about how assistive technology and remote supports helps people lead their best lives, allows them the most independence, and allows them to utilize their staff resources for community engagement and other necessary activities for community living. And so please, I hope with that in transformation, we would see growth in those areas. And more will be shared, but we have a number of what we call mixed use affordable housing opportunities and projects that are underway. In their original inception, we refer to them as I-housing, and it was actually funded in the budget specifically as I-housing. The success of the first opportunity there was so great. We have seen a number of providers engage with development corporations to develop more of these living opportunities statewide. We see a number of those coming online. We see them as being integrated community-based settings, and Peter will have more to share about some of that, I believe, in his presentation. I want to be really clear what it doesn't mean. It doesn't mean that we're looking at a future that has no group homes. We have group homes now. We will have group homes later. Group homes will be a part of our continuum of support. So this is not a ringing of the bell to say that group homes are going away. What it does not mean, it doesn't mean providers will be forced to close congregate day settings. It also doesn't mean that we will immediately or anytime in the short future eliminate all of our waiting lists. We do believe, though, that we'll decrease our waiting lists if we engage together in this conversation about transformational change. When I talk about technology, remote supports, assistive technology, very often the fear is that we're looking at a plan that eliminates the need for staffing. And I want you to be sure that staff won't be replaced by robots, by cameras, by iPads, but those technologies can supplement the existing staff, which in today's workforce crisis is really important that we can utilize staff where they're needed most. But it doesn't mean that staff and staffing are going away. How does this fit with our 5-year plan that I talked about last year? Well, we'll continue to use the Charting the Life Course framework for planning and progress. This ensures that we have a holistic view of community services supports in addition to what DDS provides from a very person-centered perspective. There's lots of information on our website about Charting the Life Course, and if you're unfamiliar with it, I encourage you to go there now. Utilization of technology to increase access. The use of telehealth was something we learned from the pandemic that was really valuable. It allowed for a number of people who struggle with in-person visits to get telehealth provided, less time in transition for a number of folks that we support, individuals that we support. And so the utilization of that technology will increase access to health-related outcomes and positive health-related outcomes. We also learned that there are a number of things that people have traditionally done in person that they really value being able to do at home, whether it's too hot out, too cold out, transitions are difficult, staffing becomes an issue for accessing some of these community events and classes. We've learned that utilization of technology increases access to community opportunities, and that is consistent with the 5-year plan. As I mentioned with Charting the Life Course, it continues to support a person-centered approach as we engage in these activities and conversations about transformation. It increases the likelihood of more community integration. It helps put the person that we support in the center of what they do. It helps promote self-advocacy, which has been a pillar for the department for a number of years and is indeed embedded in our 5-year plan. And it encourages innovation. Consistent with the 5-year plan, a lot of the conversations around ARPA funding, utilization of technology, transforming living situations, reimagining day programs, reimagining vocational settings, reimagining work, reimagining advocacy. All of those things fall under innovation, and that is all included within our 5-year plan available on the website. As most of you are aware, workforce development right now is incredibly important to the department, both in our public services and in our private sector. We are in a crisis mode across many settings, working hard to develop an ongoing stable workforce in all settings. DDS leadership, myself in particular, is dedicated and is working hard with all the resources that are available. In addition to resources made available through ARPA funding, we are also engaged with the Governor's Office of Workforce Development and other short-term and long-term workforce development strategies for the sector overall. I'm engaged currently with my colleagues across the country who are facing the same dilemma that we are, that bringing people to the door to choose what we support, what we fund as a career has never been harder. And to be fair, we've been talking about workforce crisis within what we do for all of the 30+ years I've been at the table, and quite honestly, it has never been this bad. But we are starting to see some turning of the tide within both the private and public sector, and we will continue to work with our private partners to help stabilize those programs. Again, we're going to talk about employment for those we support and other projects with Deputy Commissioner Elisa Villardo, and Peter Mason will lead a conversation presentation on ARPA spending. I encourage you to look at those videos, and I thank you for taking the time to listen to me today. I look forward to the question and answer sessions with our new leadership this fall in person. Thank you.